Okay, so looking at this matchup, obviously, I know we probably already covered this, but Oldhim likes to do controlly things a lot of the times. I know a lot of people have been adapting this more aggro-esque style gameplay for Oldhim, because obviously Awakening exists, and they can afford to take damage, and they can just pulverize or Okanold haha you to death. And then Rhinar just tries to take your cards away and then come at you hard. Rhinar is like, it's like a 60-40 if I'm not correct, right? For this matchup, roughly.
I think it's in Oldham's favor.
You think
right
so?
now?
Okay.
Yeah, because he typically, ever since Prism, came out of the woodwork, he's been forced into an aggro game plan. You don't see very many like just straight control fatigue Oldhams. They do have a little bit of flex in them where they can go a little bit back and forth, but most of the time they're running like the Zealous Beltings and the E-Strikes and stuff like that. So when you're playing a deck like that, it's kind of what Rhinar doesn't want to see.
Nick Grim in chat did say Claws is Oldhim favored and Club is Rhinar favored in his opinion. It's a good take.
Yeah, it just depends on which style the Oldham's playing. Really.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Part. If he flips over a Stag, we'll know that that he's going the aggro plan.
Okay. Okay. Nope. So far, nope. All right, I'm gonna mute up, but let you guys have fun, and I'll be back when the match ends.
All right, sounds good.
All right. Now I'm either electing to go first or being given first.
No. Yeah, he elected, so we should see 2 barraging beatdowns. No.
Oh.
So close.
Saving him for next turn.
Yeah, that's right.
There you go.
Hard to plan.
Yeah, see, that's the power of like Grasp of the Arknight, is just having a mana dump or a resource dump to be able to filter cards is huge, and a lot of classes could really use it. Just an Icy Hammer. Interesting. Okay.
I think the idea is that he didn't want the opportunity to get awakened on turn 1, so he just opted just not to attack.
Sure.
Or maybe he just doesn't have good cards.
Yellow riled up's probably not what you want in your hand, especially if you have 2 of them.
So the way that works, Neil, is if Nom intimidated 3 cards,
he wouldn't be able to play it.
He can't play Awakening,
right?
Because once you get your cards back, that's the end of the turn.
Right.
There's no opportunity to play Awakening.
But that's assuming he can awaken 3, or he can intimidate 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even 2, chances of him being able to fuse it or even pitch for it, or it not getting intimidated, are pretty high.
Yeah, even intimidate 2 means he can't play Awakening. The thing is, if you have a barraging beatdown, you might as well save it.
Well, here's a swing big for 11.
Mm-hmm.
11 or 8. We're probably going to see the 8 here, but I think other than a fused Okanold, there's no way that you don't just block this.
I think Oldhim is going to be pretty happy with the Quicken Token. Oh,
did he even have it fused? Okay, maybe he didn't have the ice. If he had the ice, I probably would have ate that.
neither of these guys have a health bar. Health indicator.
Do they know that? I guess they'll figure it out.
They'll figure it out very soon.
Did he blocked with 2 cards, right?
I thought he blocked with 3 cards. How does he have Macho Grande here? He blocked with 2 cards and pitched 1. Okay, so he still has 1 left, yeah.
What did he pitch for? For Rampart?
For shield, I think? I don't know.
There you go. They figured it out.
So Rampart plus 2 cards is 7. Swing Big comes in for 8. So
I don't know.
Well, the Quicken token didn't matter, so I guess it's irrelevant. But all right.
I'm actually not sure what happened there.
So if it, why not another one?
Oh, the Oldhim ability. He pitched for Oldhim ability for 8.
Oh, it makes sense. Okay, so we got another swing big. One of the most efficient cards in the game, by far.
You know, the Oldhim players playing exactly 60 cards.
Mhm.
So, I mean, these swing bigs are one for two, one for three type of situations.
Yeah, but that's way outweighed by Rhinar discarding all of his other cards with
Mhm.
attacks. So, as much
Yeah.
as it is an advantage, I don't think.
Mhm.
So maybe he is trying to fatigue him here. So all we've seen is the hammer. Okay. Sigil. Okay, so he's fatiguing. That's a fact. Fatiguing a Rhinar. That's interesting.
Possible.
Oh, for sure.
Oh,
When
how
half
the
of your cards say
turns have
discard.
tabled.
You want to know how to beat fatigue? You don't let him block. Sounds good. But he's got to do more than one. So like he has to have another one, or like an alpha rampage, or something. You know, one card isn't doing anything because that's just the one card he's going to swing hammer with. So here's a second on the, what is it? Survival instinct, I think that's what it's called. So this is a little bit better, but he's just going to double block here probably, unless one of the cards doesn't block. But then he just crowns and finds one. So yep. Offer 6.
That's interesting.
Yellow staunch
Yellow staunch
response
response.
tells you a lot about this guy's mentality.
I'll tell you exactly what it
It
tells me.
It tells us that he thought he was going to be playing against Starvo.
Exactly. So for those of you who don't know, inside the league, you can look back at previous matches and see what people have played in their the weeks leading up to your match, right? Like my opponent did to me, he expected the Visceral Mirror, and he told me about some cards like Runeblood Barrier that he was playing to, kind of help that. And then I flipped over Briar, and it kind of threw things over. But that's what we mean by kind of like forecasting what hero's coming. Basically, Nam had been playing Starvo, I think, every single week, if I'm not mistaken.
And he's known as a Guardian player.
Right. So that's what happened here. He went in just trying to fatigue Starvo, and hopefully it'll backfire, but we'll see. We have a Breakneck Battery. If I'm not mistaken, that's if you discard a 6 attack or higher, you will draw a card, right? Where does it go again?
Breakneck is go again.
Go again. Yep. That's right. Survival Instinct is the draw card, right? Good old double block for 6. Okay, so Nam's got to do something, because right now he's what, 15? Oh, even more. He's 18 life behind. He has done -6 damage.
That's
No,
not good.
no. Okay, we got a Blood Rush. This is what we want. However, I guarantee that card in Arsenal is a Blizzard. And Nom's probably gonna swing with the claws, and hopefully he can pay for it. The Oldhim player probably knows that if he lives past the big bellow turns, he's probably in a good spot. So will we see the Blizzard from the Arsenal? For those of you who don't know, the Claw gets go again anytime you've discarded a card with 6 attack or higher. So that's 5 go again. The Blood Rush Bellow is giving all brute attacks, both attack action and weapon attacks, as long as they're brute, +2 for the turn. So at worst, Nom has another Claw probably, and then another 6 attack, which would actually come in for 8. So we have another 5 here. Kind of expect an Ice Rag, maybe? Okay.
So ideally, he has 2 attacks here that can punch in for good damage. He has 2 cards in hand, 1 in arsenal, and Tunic with 1 float as well. So it's very possible.
I don't think the only...
He would need something with go again, which is the problem. It's difficult to get it.
Well, not only that, but he needs to pay for it and discard for it. So I think we're just gonna see 1 more attack here for about 8.
I think Nom is going to actually have to take a pretty decent risk somewhere down the line. He's going to have to Blood Rush with multiple.
Now that's interesting, because if he would have played that at the beginning, that would have been 1 less card that he could have blocked with, and it wouldn't have reset the chain for the shield. Although that's not going to be relevant because
it is relevant.
Oh, Tunic, yep. So
This is relevant.
that cost him a card, and yeah.
So this is 12. Not bad.
Yeah, but
So he's gonna. So basically, Oldhim's gonna go to 36 here.
But could be, what, 1 more card out of hand, that's another 3 damage. And you could have hit the blue that would have stopped the staunch, because he would have had a staunch and a Fate Foreseen in hand on the second Intimidate.
Yeah, the ordering of cards in Rhinar is actually very, very important, especially against Oldhim, because he has the D-React built into his hero.
Right.
That can really mess up your turn, so you have to play around a lot of it.
And we're right back to 40.
Yeah, so with Nom having 1 Blood Rush Bellow down and a 3rd through his deck, and have not even put 1 point of damage effectively on Oldhim, I don't see a way to close this.
It's going to be very, very hard to close this. I'm not really seeing a path either, but the Oldhim player has already used all, I believe already used all 3 Fate Foreseen.
Yeah, man, I mean,
and 2 Staunch.
Yeah, but he's running like red, yellow, staunch.
Well,
like
no,
he's
it's
got it all.
random.
It's got it all.
random, yeah. And deck sizes are both really pretty even right now, so yeah. Oh, and we got turn timbers.
Yeah, it's just he's just trying to fatigue everything. So that's actually like one complaint that I have with the league matches is like stuff like this, right? Because if you took this to a tournament, right? If you took this to the indie calling, you're going like 5 and 6 at best if you get a lot of Starvo matches. And it's just like, it's kind of like targeting and works here, and it's not good testing either, right?
Right.
Because you would never run against this in a tournament.
From a theoretical or hypothetical viewpoint, it can be interesting. Whether or not it's competitively, whether or not there's competitive integrity here.
Right.
Is it interesting? Yeah, it could be interesting.
Sure.
We've had several turns of Rhinar not doing well. 2 turns of Claw, but
Boy.
can't do much to channel Frigid out. We have an Oakenold, no fuse, so 7 vanilla. So he saw 3 of his sigils in his top half of the deck, roughly. That's pretty good.
Oh, he did not pay for sigil
Not sigil,
or seat blow. Sorry.
Synchro. Oldhim is actually the hero that demands the most mastery of a hero, in my opinion. I mean, playing against Oldhim requires a lot of mastery.
Against, yes.
Yes.
I thought you meant playing Oldhim.
Playing Oldhim. No. Playing Oldhim is not more or less tricky than an average hero, but playing against him requires you to know your deck very well.
Sure.
Like, this is Oldhim is one of the reasons we saw Dorinthia drop off in Blitz, is because a bad or even average or even a good Dorinthia cannot deal with an Oldhim.
Mm-hmm.
It requires pinpoint precision and tactics and strategy from the Dorinthia player to take down Oldhim. From turn 0, you have to know what you're doing. So this is, I mean, Nam has played Rhinar, but there's no way, I don't think the amount of Rhinar players in the world that are at the level to take down an Oldhim player of Easton's caliber, there's probably less than a dozen in the world. Because this requires very, very intricate play here. And I don't think a 2-card Blood Rush Bellow turn is going to do it.
No.
Like, you can't, against Oldhim, you can't just play turn to turn to turn to turn. You have to really, really, really set up.
Right.
And you have to understand the win con of your deck very, very intricately. And oftentimes, there's no room for error. If I get across the line as Dory against Oldhim, I probably have 1 red left in my deck. In general. With 2 blood rushes gone already, those spike turns are gone. I don't think he's running Remembrance.
No, there's no way.
I mean, I'm not one of those hype casters. Because
No.
I'm a much more down to earth, realistic guy. I'm like,
Yep.
approaching this from a strategic standpoint, like Rhinar already dead,
Yep.
even though he has 25 life to work with. The fact that 2 Blood Rush Bellows are gone, the fact that we haven't in order to break through, I think you actually have to even pitch stack.
Right. You have to.
I don't. That's the level of play required to beat Oldhim. Not only do you have to use your 3 Blood Rush Bellows perfectly, I think you have to pitch stack your barrage and beatdowns to the bottom.
Right.
You are not taking Oldhim down by randomly drawing 4 cards, playing them out, randomly drawing 4 cards, playing 3 of them out, putting 1 into arsenal, randomly drawing 4 cards, playing 5-card hand. That's not even enough. Playing 5-card hands is not even enough against Oldhim. You really have to set up a hand such that he cannot interrupt your turn. The fact that he has Ice React on a stick means you better strip his whole hand before you commit to a play. Because if he Ice Reacts the right card, that could shut down your whole turn. So things like this, barraging beatdown by itself, I don't like this. I really don't like this. But I think pitch stacking is a art form that is lost.
Yeah, it's not.
Pitch stacking is actually very, very, very difficult in general. Most people don't know how to do it. And because most people are used to fast games. But when you play against Oldhim, the game is not going to be fast. So doing things like this is just not good enough. Like,
Yep, there's the crown to get 2 cards to turn off the barraging.
the level of difficulty or the burden of difficulty in this matchup is not in the same realm.
And to give Nam some credit, like this, I think this is probably the first time he's ever played Rhinar.
No, it's not.
Has he? He's played Levia some, but
he's played Brute. Brute was his first class, actually, right?
What? No, he played Levia a lot. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, okay. Well, then
It's a little different.
Sure. Anyways, I think another thing is that on the Blood Rush turns, I think you have to scab skins before your Blood Rush. Because an extra action point on a Blood Rush turn can be extremely valuable. It can change your play pattern quite a bit. Plus, you don't want to be breaking the combat chain in the middle of the...
See, no matter what happens here, that can't be the right play with 4 cards.
Yeah, it's definitely not the right play.
And what's going to happen is there's going to be like 7 pummels in the at the bottom of his deck that's going to come back around, and then he's literally not going to have anything to pummel because you can't even pummel the claws.
Mm-hmm.
They are almost even on cards, though. Found that interesting.
I think there was a world where Reinhardt could have fatigued Oldhim, but I don't know. Maybe not with the Rampart. Rampart plus Crown is too much value.
I mean, this pulping doesn't even have go again, does it?
That's why I said in general. So I played so when I was in Hong Kong, I played against Jack Tang, and he was a Rhinar main, and he would roll his scab skims before his Blood Rush Bellow turns.
Right.
And that's why I'm telling the chat, like, just I think you have to do that, because you only get 3 Blood Rush Bellow turns, right? If you roll a 1, at least you have Gambler's Gloves, right? But if you roll a 4, 5, or 6, that could change how you play your turn out incredibly, because then you don't have to rely on things like pulping. You don't have to rely on things like Wild Ride or whatever the other one was. You don't have to rely on cards with go again. You just have the action point, and those cards are stronger in general. So, especially against a deck that you need to have spike turns, that means you have to roll scab skins on your Blood Rush turn.
So we have no Blood Rush Bellows left, and Oldhim's at 1 life. So that's it.
Yes, I suspect that the Oldhim's life is not going to drop below 30 this game.
Yeah, sorry that we couldn't make this game, exciting or this is.
I mean, people tune in for entertainment, but I think they also tune into us for knowledge, right?
Sure.
The many people on the Card Guys are very, very knowledgeable about things, right? So I'm telling the chat, from what I've seen, you're gonna have to pitch stack, you're gonna have to roll your scab skins, and you're gonna have to utilize your spike turns perfectly.
Yeah.
And the thing is, even if you play perfectly, you may not get there against a talented Oldhim.
Right.
Because that could come down to your deck configuration, whether or not you have like things like Remembrance. It could be you play perfectly and still lose because your deck was not configured correctly. Right? It's possible to have lost the game on turn 0.
And also another thing, on May 2nd, a lot of people were hoping Viscera gets hit, but if he doesn't, before you grab your pitchfork and start running around, this is the type of play that combo oriented decks prevent, right? Because nobody wants to go to a tournament full of fatigue, right? And play 50 hour 10 matches, and that be
I
it.
mean, you might dislike Prism and dislike Viscera, but they're the reason why you don't see Oldhim.
Exactly. Or at least Oldhim built specifically like this.
Yes.
Right. Because Oldhim can do some good stuff. He has a lot of on-hit effects, Endless Winter, Oaken Old. I mean, there's a lot of cards in there that are very relevant in any meta. And but combo decks are what prevent games being like this ever since. There's nothing wrong with fatigue. I'm not trying to paint it badly, but you just don't want it.
I think in a tournament you might want to play against it twice.
Exactly.
Because if half your matches are this, it's not going to be pleasant.
Well, not only that, but I mean, just imagine tuning in for the game, on Twitch or whatever. You're trying to enjoy and watch the Pro Tour, and like this is all you see for 8 hours. Like, I would not watch it. There's no way. I love this game, and I could not sit through more than 2 or 3 hours of this.
I wouldn't mind watching a very, very talented class specialist play against Oldhim. Because that's what's required to beat Oldhim, is mastery of your class and deck. here we see one of the best possible hands.
Yeah, but the problem is he has tunic counter, right? So he's going to hit 2. He's going to tunic counter crown. That gives him the 2 cards to turn off barrage and beat down. 3 damage leaks through, which he'll probably use his armor on anyway.
Yep.
Is the problem, right? So as predicted, he'll draw a card. He'll lay both of them down and use Crater Fist to block all of it. If he wants, or he can go to 39. Yeah, there's no big deal there. But just the fact that he had the option to 100%.
That's actually something that we haven't talked about, is that a triple intimidate is actually not good enough against Oldhim.
Right.
If they have a tunic plus an arsenal, you need quad intimidate. So how do you set up quad intimidate as Rhinar? You have to use your Majestics very carefully. You have to use Beast Within, Alpha Rampage, and obviously Blood Rush Bella with Barrage and Beatdown, right? So the easiest way to get to a quad Intimidate is with Alpha Rampage, and Beast Within is not bad either.
Right.
Because it replaces itself.
Massacre's another one. I
Yes,
think when it's discarded due to...
All of the Majestics are extremely important in Rhinar. And you really have to use them together.
And normally a dominated pulping would be pretty good here, but not when it gets staunch response or turn timbered, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Whoop-de-doo. There it is. This is why I play Runeblade. Right here. Might have some bad matchups, but man, I'm gonna go out in style. So an Oldhim built like this would auto lose into Prism, Dash, Viscera. Who else?
Combo Bolton.
Yep, and then OG Bravo, because he would dominate everything and just outvalue. And he could come back card for card. So that's 5 decks.
If I saw Oldhim as Combo Bolton, I'd set up an Oath of Steel turn, and he'd die in 1 turn.
Yep.
I would put out 3 energy potions, pitch stack my Oath of Steel with my Lumina, and wait till I get to the end of my deck. Or I could just use my Hope Merchant's Hood. That also works too. I don't even think I need 3 E-Pots. 2 E-Pots is actually enough. It blocks 2 Stalagmite and Blizzard. Yeah, that's 4. I think the difficulty in this matchup might be just as hard as Kano against AB4, AB5. You really have to set up things very, very well.
That's interesting. I'm reading through the chat. I'm getting caught up, and we got some people saying that
Mhm.
Viscera is a favorite into Chain and Briar. What do you guys think? I mean, I'm a Viscera player. I have my opinions, but what do you guys think? Viscera into the other
I'm
room.
not knowledgeable enough to make a statement on that. I don't like talking about things that I don't know.
That's well said. Well said. What about you, Neil?
mean-
you played some Chain and hell, you played some Viscera. What do you think?
Isn't Chain just faster than Viscerai?
Yeah. So
I think
And
sometimes
the
it's
husk
really
makes a
still-
big difference, right?
The husk can make a difference, but I feel like that matchup is really dependent on whether or not Skeletta's is still in the format.
right. Well, we're assuming that it is. We're saying that like indie calling format.
Hmm.
The strategy that I went into when I played in the calling Indianapolis, what I had tested and come to my conclusion on as a Viscera player was, if I won the die roll and went first, I went OTK.
Because you could net like 4 or 5 rune chance on turn 1, and that was enough.
Right. It was one turn slower on their end, starting them with tempo, which I'm just gonna hand them on a silver platter anyway. And then on the flip side, if I go second, I go mid-range aggro into him off the basis that I start with tempo, and I just try to get him to block first. Is the way that I play that matchup. Historically, the games that I have OTK'd, I've done better than the ones I've tried to aggro. Basically, you're really banking on, if you're on the aggro plan, you're really banking on the Revel Sonata combo. Basically, if you don't get that within the game, there's no way you're beating Chain. And
he essentially has like 50 life, so
exactly, and well, not only that, but he has 12 more cards to play with, right? So it comes down. You have to, with Viscera, your high rolls are higher, but your low rolls are also lower, which they can get really bad.
There.
Yeah, they can get really bad really quickly. So that was my strategy going into Indy. I only played against one Chain. That was one of my 2 losses. Was against Chain. So, but that was because I drew very poorly, and he drew okay. But like I said, Viscera's lows are lower, and that's just how it went.
The spinal? Nope. Okay. So the pitch stack for the break ground? Okay. What's the deck sizes looking at right now? We're at 19 to 15, huh? So, I mean, theoretically, this Rhinar could have went club and fatigued out Oldhim. As odd as that sounds.
If they consciously, were really.
This is way closer in terms of deck size than I thought. And look, even Easton is checking it now. He's like, huh,
Right.
Why am I only 4 cards ahead? What's going on? And he's about to draw, so he's effectively at neutral.
Yeah, they've been pretty neutral all game.
Which is really weird.
That's true, but at the same time, since he's checked the deck sizes, all he's going to do is just keep pitching for Earth Reacts.
Yes.
And he has enough life at 36 to where it just doesn't matter. So yeah, his blocks will become super inefficient, but he'll keep cards. He'll Crown of Seeds, Rampart, Earth React. That's 4 block every turn with 0 card net.
Yep.
And then he'll just block 1 or 2, which is probably on par with what Rhinar's doing. and then he's at a higher life. So when they start trading weapon swings, Rhinar will have to block first.
Yep. So actually, maybe there wasn't a way for fatigue to work here.
Not if the Oldhim player is conscious. Of
Yeah,
going up.
and Easton's a very, very talented player. So we have an Evergreen coming across. So in terms of deck quality, Nam's deck is about to become
All
80% pummel.
Yeah, all pummels.
Yeah, and unfortunately, there's no way to buff claws. So
No.
sad face.
If I've been counting right, there's a good chance that like in 2 turns, he's gonna draw a hand, he's gonna attack with claws, and then block with like 3 pummels on a winner's will.
Yep. All right. Well, that is pretty good. This is going to get damage in because Tunic's not at 3.
But sadly, I don't think it's enough.
But the unfortunate
No.
part is this is when you want the cards. You don't want life right now. You
Yes.
want Oldhim to block. So that's the unfortunate
Yes,
part.
this is which is
He was getting 0 damage in when he needed damage, but now that he needs cards, he's
Yeah.
just getting damage.
Well, that is pretty funny. Oh nom.
Yeah. So the only way that the Oldhim player loses this game is if he doesn't just manage the amount of cards in his deck, and then it'll be a sure thing. Thanks, John, for the compliment on the commentary. We try.
Seeing one of the all-star blue cards. We're seeing 2 of them actually. Macho
Yeah.
Grande, Glacial Footsteps. These cards were excellent upgrades for all the Guardian decks, or the Elemental Guardian decks. Macho Grande, perhaps the best card for Guardian from Everfest.
I would say Stag, but to each his own.
I was about to say, I think the Starvo hero card might be the best card.
Right. Just not even the card, just between the picture and the bottom print,
Yeah, there we
that
go.
little hero text,
All right, 1 action point for Mr. Rhinar here.
What can he do with it? Maybe a claw? Wow.
Looks like a claw.
I can tell you what's not going to happen on this claw. How about a pummel? That can't happen.
Is Oldhim trying to thin his deck so it's like all Earth cards? He's been blocking with a lot of.
Yeah, he's just trying to keep all the earth in there. That way he can, if it ever gets down to the real crunch time, he can just cycle them and just prevent 2 every single turn, plus Rampart and Crown.
So hold on. In theory here, if Nam rolls Scab Skins,
Sure.
and gets a 4 or above, he's going to get 2 claws, which is actually something we didn't consider. Is normally when you get down to fatigue, like really low fatigue,
Sure.
or really low deck size, you have 1 weapon attack coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
So 2 mandible claws is actually. I mean, I think the older that a high enough life total doesn't matter. But...
Yes, your point would be extremely valid if he was at 14
10.
life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But at 32, I think he's just gonna say, you know what? I'll eat it, and then
it's
come
like,
back
and
for
then roll your Scab Skins again next turn.
I mean,
right? Because
you would need a lot more life, and also have to roll above 4 multiple turns in a row, which
again
is
and
really
again and
big
again
ass.
and again and again. Yeah. I mean that's. I bet the other 2 cards are pummel. I was like,
take
oh
that.
great, you
That's
took my yellow
unfair.
pummel. All right, now I have two more yellow pummels.
All right, so I think Oldham's just playing the game of when can I get a Macho Grande?
Yeah, 12 cards for Oldhim, 7 cards for Rhinar now.
Yep. This Pulping discarded a Pummel, so it does not have Dominate, correct?
Yep. Pulping is the one with that can get Dominate, and then it could have Go again, depending on.
Right.
But with 5 cards in hand.
So how do you like the play for the Oldhim player to not block the Pulping to encourage Nom to make the misplay of playing a card that discards like an attack? Because the worst you risk is he comes in with another Claw for 3, or you get another card off of a discard effect when you have the life to sacrifice. Does that make sense? What do you think?
Yeah, I think you're overthinking it slightly. I mean, if he's just looking for, oh, do I have a fused Glacial Footsteps? Do I have a Macho Grande? Okay, I just win.
Right.
Because he's seen Nom's whole deck. He has no armor, so literally doing 7 Dominate just wins the game here.
Well,
There's 8 Dominate will win because of Tunic.
with 5 cards and not blocking any, if I was a betting man, I would say this is a tear asunder into a big Guardian card. But
Yeah,
what-
that also
you know.
could be it too. Oh, he's rolling Scabskins.
Look at that. Look at that. He's
Look.
trying to do something.
All right, looks like he wants his.
He said 3's not good enough. How about
Here's the thing. This is gonna get
another
ice
3?
reacted. This is gonna get ice reacted. Probably. Okay, never mind. It doesn't matter. So yeah, only has 1 action point.
I think he was just trying to double claw because he's got another Pummel in hand. Or not. Okay. Oh. So that's another 3. It does not have Gogan. He has not discarded a
Yep.
6 attack or higher. Oldham's gonna say no blocks and then play a Terrace Under and win the game.
Yep, that's
Can we see it?
Terrace
Here
Under
we go.
or Glacial Footsteps.
Holy cow.
There it
You,
is.
you called it.
It's like I know
Hey,
something.
and Glacial Footsteps.
Look at that. Into a Macho. Ah, Cranium.
Oh,
That's
okay.
boring. That's boring.
Vanilla,
But it wins.
but it wins.
Yep. What are you gonna do? Block with a Pummel? Nom?
Nope.
Uh,
GG.
that's it. That's it.
All right.
All right. So it should not be long until the next match because that one took forever.
Yep.
So.
Speaking of next match, Neil, that's you, right?
Hey.
Is that you? Yeah, you're third, right? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Time to wake up.
Wake up. I need to go to bed.
Wow, I'm back.
What's up, pal?
Did you take a nap?
You know.
When we started talking about Viscerai in the
Yeah, I guess,
In the Brute Guardian matchup?
yeah.
I don't think I've ever slept so much in a game before.
Oh my goodness.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna be honest
Yeah.
with you. Tomorrow, I'm giving Nom hell
Yeah.
at work. It's gonna just be funny. It's gonna be very funny.
So Nom may have lost the match, but the real losers are